saying something.
We really want your opinion on our syllabus because Crystal and I has had, and Rick, for that matter, have had the opportunity to look at the Caribbean Exam Council and the syllabus, and comparing what we see as our curriculum and comparing what you guys have, by far it's more detailed. Now,
Who is
in
more,
comparison,
yours is more detailed? Yours is
you
more
guys
detailed?
is more detailed
Oh, okay.
and more specific. As far as why students are doing things right or wrong, we can't really speak to our students as yet, but I guarantee we'll probably keep in contact definitely because the difference is I don't understand why we have problems and you guys are so specific. I guess I'm just a person who likes detail. If we were to use your syllabus, we'll probably a lot of our students will be able to deal with the math problems a bit better. I'm not sure.
I just think that
I'm not sure. I'm guessing. Not sure.
So ask the question again, Orientals. Ask that question again.
Okay. I actually next time.
There are several things that are coming out, so I'm trying to figure out what is the question you want to make.
Well, I just want to know if you feel our syllabus, and I want your honest opinion. Once you take a look at it, give us your honest opinion about, is it too general? Is it too weak? Is it not strong enough? I mean, we need to know this because we're going into the profession and we don't want to go into it blind. You see what I'm saying?
All right, so now look at and give your feedback, okay? So it might not be right away, but I'll definitely do it. And you can remind me, send me an email or two to remind me, okay?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Alright, so let me just do a brief overview of what I did. I'm saying that's what when we write our when we're going to write our tests or our exams, we need a blueprint, and that blueprint is called a table of specification. As I explained earlier, you should have done this is something you would have done or you should have done in your assessment class. Now there are different models, but the overall idea is that depending on the number of hours that you spend, the number of time. So the number of time you spend on a particular topic, that is how you should weigh the exam or the test. So if you spend more time on decimal, your exam should reflect that. If you spend less time on equation, your exam should reflect that. That's the general idea. So you need to determine, you need to determine, or probably I don't know if your school or something would adopt a module. You need to determine, all right, how many of the questions I'm setting for, do you want your exam to be more according to the knowledge question, or is it that you want it to go more to the higher order thinking skill, like the comprehension and the reasoning? So you need to determine that or decide what model you use in your school. Another idea, any question? That's just an overview. The other idea I want to look at is, we know about the regular pencil and paper test. Can you think, if you want to assess your students, what other means do you use? What other method do you use? Other than pencil and paper test. Can you think of other method of assessment? Alright, if you're a teacher, what other ways do you assess students' learning? A little bit more deeper than oral.
Observation.
Observation.
You're asking how we can.
Yes. So how do you assess students' understanding? Without, if you're not giving a pencil and paper test, what other means can you use to assess their understanding? Huh?
Games.
Games? You have a student on the back there. Santana?
You could do oral testing one-on-one with students.
All right, oral testing, but there's another name for that, so I'll come back to that. Anybody else? Arantas?
Physical activities, I guess.
Physical activities.
Yeah.
See, that's a bit more specific.
I'll give you an example. When I was in prep school, I had a math and a physics. He did math and physics, and what he did with us was he wanted to see how fast one of us can push cut a bike from in 100 yards, and we have to make sure we have to time it, measure the distance, and see how fast we were going. So we each got a push cut bike, and it was a physical activity, and we had to compete against each other.
So I understand exactly what you're saying. It's called performance assessment.
Okay.
All right. So you also have interviews. That's what you're talking about when you're saying oral.
Yeah.
All right. So
Can we ask
projects.
questions?
Yes.
Can you ask questions, like probe them, ask me questions, or?
I said probably they can come out into interviews, right?
Question. If you give an online test, is it pen and paper still, or you could say online testing?
It's still technically it's a pen and paper test. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have portfolios. You were saying presentations. Journaling. All right. Now, so we talk about other means of assessing students outside of the regular pencil and paper test. So we talk about observation, games, performance assessment, interview, projects, portfolio, presentations, and journal. Usually for very young children, pen and paper tests, they're not recommended, so we have to observe them. So we'll probably give them something to do and see what they will do. Like observe them and probably need a checklist. Now, just as all the alternative assessment, you need a proper rubric to assess these things. Alright? So we look at that last semester, we look at the rubric and we look at the checklist. Now, there's a name for this, they're called alternative assessments. So the broad name for those are alternative assessment, different means of assessing students outside of the regular pencil and paper test.
Do you think that might be
Yes, but the truth is your rubric has to be precise. If you're going to use something like this, yeah, I think that's a very good question. Could you answer the question that anybody can benefit from it? She was saying that if you think that, I'm going to answer this to advantages and disadvantages of these types of assessment. She was saying that if you think that if we use these forms of assessment, if it will cause any bias in how you assess the students. What do you think?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yes.
Example, if you give projects and then a student who does not have a computer comes and he writes it up And students who has the capital will come with a nicely typed and pictures and color. Obviously, you would have this tendency to give the child for presentation and whatever else. Sometimes the child who wrote it might have put more energy into it.
I mean, they understand it even more. As if we're assessing students and we're assessing for students' progress. Sometimes I really wonder, like for example, they're doing a presentation, and because they come up and as Christian was saying, they do something more
Elaborate.
yeah, that has nothing to do with the content really. But because a part of our rubric is presentation, not really creativity, but presentation. We tend to give them more marks.
Okay, but you see, that is true enough. When you're assessing students where it's not a right or wrong anymore, it opens the door for us to be very subjective rather than objective. Agree or disagree?
Yeah, that is totally the case. Because I remember like correcting CXC, we have a lot of arguments around the markers. We will decide, well, that is totally wrong, so why are we giving the mark for it? But then at the end of the day, you realize that they trying to, it's what you testing the child for. Sometimes you're looking at whether the child had some kind of understanding, whether the child was able to pick out. So sometimes it's not about right or wrong anymore.
Yeah. So, but that's the reason why we need a rubric that is well defined. We need a rubric or a checklist that is well defined. So if we're saying that we're grading for presentation, what exactly do we mean by grading for presentation? What exactly are we looking for? So for presentation, I need to have the different things I'm looking for, and I'm ticking for those things. I got a checklist, and I'm ticking off of those things. Whatever additional thing that the students will do, if it's not on my rubric, you don't get a grade for it. So we have to make it objective. Am I clear to you?
Yep.
Okay. Clear? Clear?
Another question. Should we inform students of the rubric?
Yes. A part of assessment is that yes, it's a good idea to do that.
That's an idea.
Which in fact we should do that.
Is it something like that? People like with that test, a student can basically like if you have pins on paper, you kind of have an idea of what grade you get. But if you know your presentation, but I mean if you know the rubric, you better understand what
To do. What exactly are you looking for? That's true. It's something we need. So we really need to improve on assessment. We need more training in assessment. So
Because you might have a disadvantage because I know that you're looking for creativity or whatever. Even though I might not know what it is, I can scream creativity.
yeah, I get definitely I get to say. Definitely. Alright. Now what do you think that we need? Do you think that we need to use these forms of assessment in our classroom?
Yep.
Why?
Because students learn they have different learning styles, and if I can probably express myself better in writing a poem or something rather than writing out whatever. So we can give everybody a fair chance.
Okay. So Casey was saying that because students have different learning styles, we need to assess them differently. Are we agree with that?
Yes.
But I mean, what else about the disadvantage? Let's think about the IC test and the GSAT and the CAPE and the CSEC. What are some of the disadvantages? Because I mean, we know the advantages, but what are the disadvantages? What are some of the disadvantages of doing that IC test?
Maybe how a question is like you know a topic of maybe how something is phrased through your art. So they have students who know a topic but maybe a particular word that was used never really understand, just skip the question and move on, and you think that, oh, the students don't understand and stuff. But they do understand, just maybe the phrase, you know, and maybe the word itself. So maybe it make it look as if someone doesn't know, them get a low grade or grade and not get understanding. And then they could get a student who get a high grade, but all they know is this procedure, don't really understand what really is, because no follow certain rules. So if it's set like this, you can just do that type of person. If you change up the topic again, with that same person who get a high grade, you probably couldn't do the same question, okay? Set in a different one. So I guess maybe how the exam set you can favor one set and
Yes, I definitely agree with that. Did you hear that, everybody?
Not quite clear.
Okay, so Jomo was saying that the exam cater to procedure, so cater to students who can memorize procedure rather than test for conceptual understanding. Are you agreeing with that?
Yes.
For me, this is the thing. I think that it can be a little bit unfair, but I mean, life is unfair. But in terms of that one shot thing,
yeah.
I can be performing throughout the year, and then I can be faced with something, something can be happening.
Sure, that.
And because of that, I can on the very day, I can get up not feeling well. I can have something traumatic happening the night before, and I fail the exam. So and there's no other, if I need to do it, I need to do it another time, not at that. So I missed that opportunity. Are you understanding that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To some students when what is where before the exam, I remember one mother passed away, father passed away, right in the week of the exam. And you don't know how that will affect you.
It definitely will affect them. Definitely. You don't think about exam at that time.
What happens to those students who are not good testers?
I didn't hear that, Crystal.
Or have tests. Crystal was saying, what happens to the students who are not good testers or have test anxiety?
Exactly. Some people have, especially the math anxiety thing, and they need to go and do the test. Then that's a problem. So it's not like they don't know. Like really, it's not like they don't know. So all of that, those are disadvantages of doing I-State exams.
And then teachers get into the mood of just.
Please say it again for me, Crystal.
I said sometimes teachers get in the mood of just basically teaching their students how to pass the test rather than how to understand.
Teaching to the test. That's very good. That's another problem. We don't spend the time to teach concepts anymore. We teach to the test. So we want them to pass the exam rather than understand math for everyday living. Understand math to survive, to function. So we teach them how to do calculations to pass an exam, but they don't understand math. So that's one of the main issues with high stakes exam. Because even with the GSAT exam, I know that most of you are not exposed to the GSAT exam. The GSAT exam is what we do at the end of primary school, and it is used to send the students on to high school. So it will determine the quality of high school that you'll go, right? And these students, they'll get A's, like 90, they have an average of 95, but they don't understand math, they don't understand what is happening, but they're good, they can memorize. So that's always a problem with I-State exams. Now, when we think of alternative assessment, it really gives students a chance to showcase their abilities. Do you think so?
Yeah.
So alternative assessments, they give students the opportunity to showcase their abilities. So if you're giving them a task to do, especially for the tactile learner, they give them something to do, you observe them doing it. You give them real life exam task to do as orienters, as you were explaining earlier. You can interview them because you have some persons who are not good at, like a lot of math persons are like this. If I need to do an exam or write the exam, they're not good at explaining, going in detail to express it, a particular way. But it doesn't mean that they don't know. So if you interview them, you'll realize that they do understand what is happening. They're really on par. But it's just that they don't know how to express it properly on pen on paper. Am I clear?
Yes.
All right. And projects. Some students are creative, very creative and very innovative, so they can do excellent projects. So it's a matter of the focus. What we focus on with pencil and paper test is: are you intelligent in math? It's an achievement. What can you achieve in this test? Rather than how are you intelligent? How are you intelligent? We're all different. How are you intelligent? So these alternative assessments give students a real showcase who they are and their abilities. So when you look at journaling, this is for the linguistic person, don't you think? The linguistic person will really detail everything that they understand about a topic or something. Alright, so now we're going to take it to our CXC past paper. It doesn't matter what you're just going to take out one. What's access to a past CXC past paper?
Say that again, Ms. McCarthy.
Could you please take out your CXC past paper?
Oh, CXC.
Yeah. CSEC past paper. CSEC. Any year.
I actually got two. This is Kate. That's June. Yes, January.
I want to look for different things on the past paper. I want to look for, first thing I want to look to see if the questions that are on the paper. So we're saying that the syllabus, the objective should be aligned. The syllabus should be aligned to how you test to how the exam is tested. Agree? So first thing is that they're testing for 3 particular taxonomy. They're testing for knowledge, comprehension, and reasoning. And knowledge is what? Facts. Reason, comprehension is really what? Understanding, and reason is thinking. So I want you to look at the exam. Doesn't matter what year exam you have. And to see if you can identify these 3 distinct taxonomy. Are you seeing where at least write an example, a question that you think is a knowledge question, a question that you think is a comprehension question, and a question that you think is a reasoning question. You're going to share it and we're going to discuss it. Why is a knowledge question? Why is a comprehension question? And why is it a reasoning question? Are we understand what needs to be done?
Yeah.
Okay, so we are looking to see if the exam it has all these things.
Orange, you have a paper?
Yes, I do.
Okay, all right, good.
I have a question.
Yes.
They don't actually have the question on the
Because we have the report.
It just says this question has the candidate's ability and doesn't really say what the question was.
What was it? What? I didn't hear you, Crystal.
We just make copies of the reports, and it doesn't actually have the questions in the report.
Okay.
No, I'm talking
you
about the
can-
report. I'm
do
talking
you
about
have
the
a paper?
I'm sorry. I didn't-
I'm talking about a past exam, past paper.
Orange, first, you have your laptop with you?
We can use this laptop.
We can use this laptop. Hold on for a second.
Okay, you could go online and get it.
Is it what German is? Is that what we're looking at?
No, not that one. We're not
Yes,
doing
okay.
we're looking at the Cape exam on Thursday, not today. So just look for a CSEC past paper, math past paper. It doesn't matter what year.
You could go to csecmathtutor.org.com.
Yeah, yeah.
your test, that if you should be able to identify a question that is a knowledge question and a comprehension question and a fact, whatever, reason question. You should be able to do these things. Because if you're writing a paper, if you're writing your objective, you have to be at different levels. So this is important for you to know.
So Christiana, we go to where?
CSEC, math tutor dot weebly.com. CSEC math tutor dot weebly.com. WEEBY.
So there's a set ending on what? Map 2. CXC. Okay. Dot. Map 2.
You said Weebly or V?
Yeah, Weebly. WEEBLY.
EBLEY, you said?
BLY.
Okay.
.com, right?
Yeah.
Tractors and
Yes, we did.
STEM.
Other ways up there.
I don't think it's good.
Okay.
What about Weebly?
I guess right to 38.
Do you have to Google this? The CS, isn't it E? CSE Smith.
This kid.
Listen.
Christiana, do you do CX?
CSEC.
Oh, S.
Yeah.
CSEC.
Okay.
Is it math? Is no dot? It's just math tutor dot weebly dot com.
Yeah.
And
Let's take out the dot.
yeah,
I'm bored.
one and
So they have to do this.
Yeah.
I think for true or false, they're like, I mean, if it's just said that true or false, there's a percentage maybe it's probably there is
The average.
Sorry, the arrow down.
is it a true or false? So if I don't know the answer here right, what I might be, is it right?
no, but if it
Yeah, I'm saying yes.
Can you send a link to me on my email, Christiana?
Yeah.
Force the student to have to know the facts. But outside of that, the true or false that is not done properly.
W.
It's T's. We take the cash papers. Is that what we're looking at?
How do you sense
Is there something on it?
for easy? Because some of us have access.
We're looking at past papers.
Yeah.
Okay, we got
You
it.
got it, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'll do all right. You didn't not necessarily the right thing to do because I said we should get each line is not necessarily objective in the first thing.
This step or this step or this step. That's
So one mark by itself.
right, and that is catering to that object. And then you can come back and where you're checking comprehension, knowledge,
Or reasoning.
and so you have
Yeah, but I was a person who's like, this line is a mark. This is so wrong. It's so wrong.
and then you is marked. Not about. One mark is
What, B?
for example, having the length.
And reasoning. That one,
Points.
no, the same.
To the points and then comes to the point.
What's the difference? What's knowledge? Knowledge is facts,
Yeah.
comprehension is understanding.
Where's my greatest technology?
I think that general because in assessment, just I don't know but instead of mark, it is every line we give a mark. Like I know it's so wrong, but I'm not a kid. But you have to assess. You have to really figure out what object to say. It's like each like a mark.
So, now
Sometimes sometimes I feel okay because I'm the right
oh,
mark.
so they have knowledge, so
Just a one mark.
Comprehension to understand.
They just
that's what it should be. Ms. McCarthy,
Yes, sir.
I have a question for you. When Chris and I are looking at some of these questions, right? Can it be a two-field question? Is it a knowledge-based question and a comprehension question, or just one?
Okay, but you can say both, but you need to explain to me why you're saying both. So if you look at that question, so depending the part A can be a knowledge. Can was just looking for testing knowledge, a fact.
Right.
You know this fact. And part B
Right.
might be a comprehension. That's what you're asking?
Yes. Or
Okay, yes.
or
No.
or can part A be both a knowledge and comprehension question?
Yes, depending on how you interpret that, because you can need a knowledge to determine to. Okay, so you can need a fact to do what you need to do to show understanding. Am I clear?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. If I might need a fact to be able to show to
Okay.
understand whatever.
Okay.
So you knowledge is facts.
Facts, right? But comprehension is understanding, right?
So you need order of operation.
For this.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
It's the order of operation is not really fact. So
Mm-hmm.
the fact that you have to do
Yeah.
X
You are
well, records first.
Yeah.
When it's
So it's a fact.
objective and that objective you're assessing, do you know how to add to the fact? When I assess it, you know the fact
So-
is here. You know this.
Well, sometimes, based on this big amount of marks that they depends on
That's true.
yes, I just,
Knowledge.
your exam, they were supposed to add two options. What is that? I gave them, I didn't do that. I gave them 1 mark.
So what do you know?
Yeah, okay.
So I really like how they get the key. Really like it. Time consuming.
Multiplies.
First,
Yeah.
I didn't sleep like
Listen,
there is a different right with that mark. So this was deciding different objective.
So, I think us there to read.
is it working?
It should be more, it should be for everyone.
Huh?
You have to think for
Crystal?
everyone. Yes?
Mrs. McCarthy.
Are you still working?
Yeah, we just found the exam paper, sorry.
Chris
But we
and
can,
Tiana, is it working?
Yeah.
So Crystal,
Yeah?
Each question,
Crystal, you were saying something?
should we students use their brain for each question?
For the reasoning part, she's saying that with each
Efficient
question,
what?
each,
I didn't hear that.
Was saying, should the students be thinking for each question?
yeah, you may think it's funny, but if we're reading the questions, they have to think the process too, correct?
Yeah, but when we talk about things, we talk about higher level thinking skills, higher level thinking, not just, higher level thinking, not just facts. You don't need to think about facts. If you don't know it, you don't know it.
Okay, all right.
I think
Okay, so you might ask me to define a bus. Is there no definition, or I know what a bus is and can define, or I don't know? So facts. So yes, it uses some thinking, but it's at a higher level thinking skill. So facts, you know it or you don't know it.
Right. Yeah, this one's established, this one. She is at one.
how many did you do? One question or all of them?
Just one question each.
Okay, we did one.
We did one.
No, we haven't finished. But like 3 parts.
Yeah, this one's got 3 parts.
And Miss Etienne, are you finished?
Yeah.
Yeah, this one. Sure. State.
Okay,
Okay. When it says state, like this is easy. But this is state in your comprehension. It's a state.
state, give me a reason.
Yeah, the reasons are states and meanings. Yeah.
I'm going to Kezia and then this time.
Which one says this? Yeah, that this has
What was this one you said?
yeah. I didn't know what was comprehension. Stand. Yeah.
All
Okay,
right,
we're
Crescentiano, you're going to start because you're finished first. So I'm going to start by just a knowledge question. What do you have for a knowledge question? And tell us why it is a knowledge question.
Okay, so I was looking at January 2010, number 3, which is a set question, and it also has a bit of construction. For knowledge, well, first off, they gave the students in words that the subset T was multiples of 3, and subset E was even numbers. And so I said, when they asked them to draw and represent the info, I said they had to have some kind of knowledge as to what is a multiple and what are the multiples of 3, and they would also need to know even numbers.
Okay, so for them to represent that set there, they need to know multiples of 3, and that's definitely knowledge, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they have to know even numbers, that's definitely knowledge. Are we agreeing with that, buddy?
Yeah.
Why do we say it's knowledge again? Is that they know it or they don't know it?
Mm-hmm.
It's really a fact. Alright, Crystal?
Continue.
Oh, you weren't finished. Okay, go ahead. I didn't know you weren't finished.
Oh, I was doing the comprehension and reasoning right away.
Okay, I just want the knowledge question first. I'm
Oh,
just
okay.
taking all the knowledge
Alright.
question first.
Okay.
Rantas, what is your knowledge question?
Crystal and I were looking at its 2013 January paper, and it was the first question says use a calculator or otherwise calculate the actual value of, and it gives us some numbers, and it is asking for facts, and in order for them to solve that problem, you really have it written out. You have to use order of operations. So you have to solve what's inside the parentheses first and work your way up.
Is that a knowledge question? Let's think about that. Is that a knowledge question?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, because you have to have some knowledge of how to solve things in order of operation. Correct?
But yes, you have to have some knowledge of order of operation. But the question is not. There's a difference. It's asking you what's the order of operation. That's just a knowledge question. But you have to use that knowledge to do something else. So it means that it is more than just knowledge. Am I making myself clear?
Yes. So you're saying it's two. It's knowledge and reason.
Okay, so even for alright. So around us, a knowledge question is just asking for facts.
Right.
I should ask you, list all the members of set. Let's use her example. List all the members of set A. If set A is defined as even numbers from 0 to 10. So if I know even numbers from 0 to 10, all I'm doing is stating that knowledge, whether I know it or not. Am I clear? But if I have to use that knowledge to do something else, it's a lot deeper than just knowledge. So if I'm doing calculation, that's something else. Using the knowledge to do something else, it's more than that knowledge, more comprehension.
All right.
I don't know if I'm clear. Am I clear?
Yes. Yes.
What am I saying? Can somebody else try to explain? I don't know if I'm clear. So can somebody else try to explain?
Well, I get it now.
Yeah.
He's saying that if they're asking us to perform, he said basically knowledge and state the facts.
That's right.
Right? But when they ask you to do something further, that's more comprehension.
Okay.
So I think that's where you're confused because we did do knowledge and comprehension, but we thought in order to solve the problem, you would need the knowledge of the order of operation.
All right. Is there want to explain what your understanding? Just what do you understand?
From knowledge.
What's a knowledge question? How would you differentiate a knowledge question and a comprehension question?
Knowledge question, you're just stating the facts only. You're not stating why, or you just are applying anything. You're just stating it.
So it doesn't involve any calculation.
So what was that?
It doesn't involve any calculation.
You do that, right?
if it say it doesn't
It's all
calculation.
calculations.
If you don't have to calculate for it to be a knowledge.
I don't want to pin it down so you don't have to calculate. I don't want to pin it down to that. I just want us to understand that knowledge are just facts. In other words, do you know this? It's just facts. That's what I just want to put into that.
Oh, okay.
Christina, can you help me to explain this?
Well, yeah, knowledge, like it says, what do you know? So do you know what is a multiple? Do you know what's even numbers? But I mean, I see where you're coming from in thinking that the question and incorporates both, because to me, in everything you do, you must know. But when we only looking at what is it that you know without further complications or application, it is just a matter of what you know, then it's strictly knowledge.
Okay. So are we clear now? Like I'm asking everyone to help me to ensure that we're all on the same page.
I'm not on the same page, but I'm trying to get there.
You're not on the same page.
I don't really understand what you're saying, because she just said you have to know that it's multiple of 3. We're not calculating, like for her example, we weren't calculating anything, we were just looking at the multiples of 3.
Right. So that's a knowledge question.
I'm saying that's a knowledge. If I'm just looking at, okay, all right, let's give another example. If I say, define a set, that's knowledge. Is it I know how to define it or I don't know how to define it? Get me,
Right.
Crystal?
Yes, I get you.
Yeah.
But that would
And it's just different if you said create sets.
Okay.
That's comprehension. That's, sorry.
If I need to be
Yeah.
doing something with that knowledge, it's more than
Well, that's what I'm
knowledge.
saying. So if you say define the sets is knowledge, but if you say create the sets, that's comprehension.
If I say create this,
If you
Create
say
the
create the sets, that's comprehension.
if I give you the information, I can come finish that sentence. Finish that sentence. Create a set of da 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 da.
Right. I don't know. I don't know.
Create a set of.
Create the set of the numbers that add up to 11. No, I don't know.
Create a set of what? I'm hearing you. I don't know why.
I don't know.
Uh,
Can you hear me now?
I'm hearing you now.
Okay. I mean, I'm a show, but I guess it happens. No, I was saying that you said one of them you're defining. So if I'm defining the set, so if I'm looking at them and say the sets have, I don't know, each set has multiple, they're all multiples of 2s or whatever, or multiples of 3. But then if I say create the sets that should all have multiples of 2 or 3, is that comprehension?
All right, Crystal. This is a question I want to ask yourself. When I read a question, am I expected to just write out the facts? Or am I expected to do more than just write out the facts? If you can answer that for yourself,
Okay.
then it should be okay. Am I expected to just write the
Okay.
facts? Or is that I need to do more than just write out the facts? Does that make it a little bit clearer? All right. All right, so Joe, are you going to share yours now?
What I think you know about it, the question I had, number 1.
Can you speak louder?
For number 1 in June 2011, it had determined the exact value of 2 and 2¼ plus 1 1/8 divided by 4½, expressing your answer as a fraction.
Will you say that is a knowledge question?
No.
There ain't no fraction, you don't know it.
No, no infraction.
You'd be like, if you have a decimal number, a fraction.
That's a lot of understanding.
That's a lot of understanding. That's a whole lot of understanding. So, to know fraction, if I give a list, no fraction would mean that if I give a list of, as kids are saying, a decimal number, whole number, fraction and you can pick out the fraction. That's a knowledge question. Is that clear?
Yeah.
You have to understand what to do. If I'm going to, oh, this is the question. Jomo, for me to add this fraction, I know that I must add these first. And then divide after, and this bar me division, and do all of that calculation. That's a comprehension. That's a step for understanding. Yes, Jomo? It's more than just facts.
Can I ask you a question? We have a question on our thing that says summarize.
Once you put on knowledge will require a record of rules, procedure, definition, fact.
It was
I don't know
knowledge, recall of rules, and depending on what. This is for a math thing or what or whatever. Knowledge means facts. Facts. So if I test these things, so alright, so you know that some person can just memorize algorithm and then there's no understanding. But for me to do this, Jomo, if we look at it, I have to understand that, alright, why can't I just divide this by this first? I'm coming. Why can't I divide this by that first?
You guys know the rules.
Yes, I do know that I want to do there. That is understanding. I must have the rule and understand what to do. That's understanding the concept of LCM. Understand how to add these things. It's a bit more than just,
At the same time, you could understand the rule,
I don't know
but
what
I
to
don't
use
know
it.
how to use it. Or you might know the rule, but you just don't know how
Yeah.
to carry it.
It's more than facts, Joe. It's more than just facts. It's more than just facts. Who has a question?
Crystal.
I had a question. Crystal and Rita. Can you hear me, Ms. McCarthy?
I'm ready.
I was asking, is this a knowledge question? On our test we had, the scores obtained by 100 children in a competition are summarized in the table below. State the model class interval.
Say the model class interval.
Say the model class. So, really quick, what was the question?
It's like it's a statistics question. They give you a table and they ask you to state the model class.
Just look at the table and the table. Alright, that's a fact. That's a fact.
Yes, okay.
Is that a not? I'm asking, is that a knowledge question?
Yes, because the mode is just the most frequently occurring. So you just look at it and write that down. That's a fact.
Okay, so that's why I was just trying to make sure I understood exactly what you're asking.
It doesn't require a little bit of thinking.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Because you have to know what's the mode, you have to know what's the interval.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
It
Exactly.
didn't ask about interval, she said the mode. It asked about
No, she
interval.
said the model class interval.
Oh, class interval, I didn't hear that point. I thought it was just a list of numbers they got, and they need to just take out the mode. It's just
But
add the mode.
even if you calculate the mode, don't you have to look to see what the mode is?
Yes, but that's a fact, that's knowledge. So you know what the mode is and you can just look and identify it.
Okay.
But then when it comes to the model class interval,
No, but if it comes to the class interval, did you hear that part of the class interval? If it comes to the class interval, it's much more than just facts,
No, but they gave you the table with the classes.
no, but they gave the table with just the data and you have to determine the interval for the model class interval. That takes a lot.
Because I'm thinking that, for example, you have 0 to 5, 6 to 10, whatever, 11 to this, that, and then you have the numbers in the column. And then now you're asked to find which one of these classes, which one of these
and the
classes.
most persons or whatever.
So it's not that you're going to determine, or if you're given the raw data, for example, and then you're supposed to do the classes. I don't think
If
that's
you're
what
supposed to determine the class interval, you are supposed to determine the class interval. It's much more than just facts. If you're supposed to put them into different intervals, that's what you're saying? if you're supposed to do the tally,
Yes.
the person's score from that class
Yes.
interval or whatever is more than facts.
Yes.
Okay.
But I don't think, based on the question that she asked, I'm visualizing that the table was given.
Was the
Is that
table
it?
given?
But how
Yes.
was the table
Given, but
provided?
not all of it's completed. So
You know, we're
you're
hardly
saying,
hearing you, Rosina. Crystal, we're hardly hearing you.
I was saying that it was given. The table is given, though half of it is not completed.
Oh, it's not completed.
Yeah.
Okay, so if it is to complete the table and to pick out the data, to complete the table and then determine the mode,
Well, you can determine the model class interval because that's given, but not the frequency and all the others.
the frequency is not, we're trying to understand, we're can't
You, Miss McCarthy, they're giving the raw data. They're probably
Okay.
giving 2 lines of the table, but then you have to finish the frequency, and so you have to do some kind of work to get the model class interval.
Okay, now I'm getting what you're saying. No, we're finally hearing you clearly. I don't understand it. So we thought that you were given these numbers already. So you just need to look at it to determine the mode. That is different. If you're given just 1 or 2 of the class intervals, like, you know, and you need to go and do the tally and it, then it's a lot more work than just looking at it. Crystal, are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you. I'm still confused, but I'm hearing you. So basically, if all the data was given to us and we basically had to point out certain things from here, then it would be a knowledge question.
Yes. Yes. The question is, I don't know how else to say this, but the question is this a fact? Is this a fact? Is this a math fact? Is it something, is it I know it or I don't know it?
Okay, but Miss McCarthy, with this situation now, where they have to go and put in the frequency and then determine which of their classes match with the highest frequency, where would we put that? We would put that on the understanding.
But yeah, because if it requires you to do that, it's a lot more than just looking and identifying the facts.
Mm-hmm.
So even though, if you look at the end question, identify the mode by itself, that's a fact question. But if you're looking at, okay, you need to understand to answer that question, understand what to do to answer that question, it's a lot more than just facts.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Krista?
Sometimes what they'll ask, part A will probably ask you to copy and complete the table. What does that mean? That doesn't mean
It's
anything.
got to be comprehension.
It
No?
can be
Yeah.
it can be a lower level thing. So some of them are so clear cut.
That was something that was from doing with the cake thing.
Some of them are not so clear cut, but we'll get there. Alright, who else needs to go? Kezia.
Alright,
So Crystal, we're going to several examples and talk about them. Maybe then we can get an understanding of what we're talking about. Yeah.
Okay.
for a 2010 paper, I think it was July or June or January. But they gave us a graph with two triangles on it, and they asked us to state two geometrical relationships between both of them.
All right. So she said state two geometrical relationship between the two triangles or whatever. What was that one?
One was the image of
All right. So one was the object and one was the image. And then it states what?
two geometric relationships.
Okay. So that is a fact question. But if you look at how they ask fact questions too, state, tell, define, what. These are usually fact questions. Define, state, tell. These are verbs that define that this question is a fact question. State, define, tell, usually associated with facts question.
As you use the activity as well.
Yes, and I gave you the taxonomy list so you could look at that too from last semester. State, define, tell. These are verbs that are for facts question. So when you need to calculate and all of that, it's much more than facts. It's much more than just regurgitating facts. So you can bring about your taxonomy. You have yours?
That's.
So Crystal, some of the words that we use for facts, define, describe, tell, identify, list, match, memorize, name, order. These are the facts questions. Once it's something that you know. Is it that you know this? Tell, state, define, list, match. These are facts.
Okay.
Good. Is it a little bit clearer now?
Yes.
And then for comprehension, you have things like read and write, recognize, distinguish. Jomo is a calculator over analysis. So it's much more than facts. So it's much more than facts.
Give an example, summarize, interpret. Is that what you're talking about?
Give an example. If you need to interpret, that is what? That can't be facts. Can that be facts if you need to interpret something? No, that must be comprehension. It must be deeper than facts. But if to give an example, that's a fact.
Okay.
Alright, so
You said give an example is a fact?
that's a fact because it's you know it or you don't. If I ask you, give what's an example of an even number? It's you know it or you don't know it.
Right.
But Miss McCarthy, to me, these words, I don't really trust them that much because to me, it's based on how you, in context. Because
That's
say for
true.
example,
That's true too. That's very true.
say for example, in my sets question, when you ask the students to list the member of T union E complement, it's not there. They have to know, yes, they have to know the different notations, but they have to do a little bit of reasoning to get what is T union E complement.
I agree with you. So we have to be careful because yes, these verbs can be used in context. I agree with you. But for the most part, if you say a tell, a state, a list, more than likely they are knowledge questions. Alright, so can we have a comprehension question? Starting with Jomo.
It's the table below shows Pamela shopping bill. Some of the image was not included. So the first item which was rice, and the quantity was 6.5 kilograms, and then they gave unit price, which is $2.40. And then the total cost was double. And the second one was potatoes. The quantity was 4 bags. The unit price was 8. And the total, they gave them the total cost, which is $52.80. So you were supposed to find 8. Then you had milk. The quantity was Y cartons. Unit price was $2.35. Total cost was $14.10. Find one of Y. And then the final part, which is said, no, the base card gave them the total of everything, $82.50. And then it said Z percentage VAT, I guess it would be value added tax. And that was $9.90. So we're supposed to find double expense.
Is that comprehension? Is that comprehension?
I compare them.
Okay, so it's, yes. Yes. It's a long comprehension question though.
Maybe knowledge comprehension.
Joe must have a knowledge. Joe must have a knowledge question. Joe, you have to use the knowledge to do something. So it's a lot more than knowledge. Alright, who wants to go next? Kezia?
The same question with the triangle that asks us to describe the rotation.
Alright, let's look at this question. Let's look at this one. She got two questions with an image, an object and an image. And you need to describe the rotation. Would you say that's not comprehension?
It's not reasoning.
Come on, somebody.
That's not reasoning.
Huh?
Can you
I thought that's not thinking, that's not reasoning.
It's
And you have to
reason.
describe something.
Yes, as you explained, all these things are, most of them are reason, but some of them are tested for understanding. So when you think of a comprehension, we think of understanding. So if something, all of these things, they're marginal enough. So if you think about the reasoning question, the comprehension question, it's a focus on thinking, a higher level thinking skill, rather than testing for understanding.
So that one.
So because we have to know if we're expected to write exams for our students, we have to know knowledge questions different from comprehension, different from a reason question. We need to know these things. Would you agree with me?
Yes.
If we need
Yeah,
a
really trying to
blueprint,
learn stuff.
we need to be able to say, this is a knowledge question, this is tested for understanding, and this is just a really high level thinking.
So the comprehension question is for a higher level thinking, correct?
Comprehension is for understanding and testing the person. So for example, a word that you can for understanding is explain so and so and so. So if I'm able to explain it, it would mean that I understand it.
All right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So if I said explain da 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 da, that's an understanding question because it's not a fact now, but because I have to know it and then explain it. So it's more than fact. So if I'm explaining something, that's understanding. But if I'm if I give you a lot of thinking things, I level thinking things every day for introductory activity. Don't I give you that? So think about some of the things like the dotted questions, those are reasoning questions, really adult thinking questions. Those are the reasoning questions.
To me, what helps me to understand reasoning as opposed to others, like some strategy that you have to use. So something more than just understanding it, something more than just knowing the fact, but you have to do a strategy. That's what I know.
That's why the thing that you do is you're using a trial and error. You use those are reasoning questions. I love thinking questions. Alright, so yes, so Arantos, give me your comprehension question.
We have here, it says factorize completely. And it says 25n squared minus 1. So they have to, would that be a comprehension question?
Yes, I agree with that. Crystal, what is yours?
Well, so P.
Yes?
That's a comprehension. All right. So
I want to know what's the reason.
Did I have to give another one, or you thought was okay?
You want us to come back to you, Crystal?
No, I said, was it okay?
Yes,
Yeah.
the one that Arantos gave me?
Yeah.
That's
No.
fine, that's perfect.
All right, we're starting to get a visual picture of it, but question I think we're both having is that what is the reasoning behind the comprehension? Because we can see these two problems and understand that is it the actual wording itself or the problem the way the problem is written? That's what we mean.
I want to see what a reasoning question was.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Scratch that. Scratch that. We're good. We're good. We just want to see what a reasoning question looks like. What's that? The reasoning, so we can understand the how we can visualize a reasoning question.
Well, you said a reasoning question is a strategy.
So the reason question requires high-level thinking skills. So as kids, I was saying that you think of a strategy for solving the question.
Okay.
So it's much more than just understanding. You think of a strategy. How can I go about solving this? So it requires high-level thinking skills.
All right.
Crescentiana, you're next.
Yeah. Okay, well, for my comprehension, I went to part B of the same question, and it said, complete the diagram. Sorry, no, the students were given the information, and they had to construct. They were given an AC6 angle, ACB 60, and CAB is 60. They had to actually construct the triangle.
Okay, that's the comfort. Yeah, that's it. That's good. That's good enough. Yeah, that's it. All right, so we're gonna take our break now, and then come back. And remember that we go through lunch period, right? So we come back and figure out what we're doing.
How long was that break?
Half an hour,
Okay.
and then we go on from 11:30 until 1:30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where we have breaks? So that's school. So you know the assignment gets ready.
It's beauty. You know too well.
I hear somebody.
Yeah.